I am talking with Joanne Wasserman, Artistic Director and Conductor. This is your 23rd season, I think.
This is my 24th season.
24th season, forgive me,
But
with
who's counting?
but who's counting? With Santa Barbara Choral Society, founded in 1948. If we have time, I'll ask if there's something brewing for the 70th anniversary coming up next season. But we are here today to talk about a really extraordinary performance of Brahms' Ein Deutsches Requiem, the German Requiem, coming up this weekend, Saturday and Sunday in Santa Barbara at what I think is one of the most beautiful rooms to perform big choral works, the First Presbyterian Church in Santa Barbara. It's at the intersection of State Street and Constance Avenue, and what I love about it is it's a big shoebox with a big high ceiling, and the sound is going to be splendid in First Presbyterian Church in Santa Barbara. Santa Barbara Choral Society and Orchestra, soloists, baritone Lester Lynch, soprano Tamara Bevard, Brahms Requiem. We're going to talk about that piece. Let me give you the dates and some ticket numbers. This Saturday, we're taping on a Monday, this coming Saturday, April 1st, let me pull this down a little bit. April 1st, 8 o'clock in the evening, First Presbyterian Church, Santa Barbara. That's Saturday, the 1st of April. Sunday, the 2nd of April at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So all of you in Southern California, you have this chance. I say it over and over again, but there is nothing like getting out of Agoura or other places, coming up to Santa Barbara. Sorry, that was a little joke. Coming up, having a day in beautiful, beautiful Santa Barbara. You catch the Choral Society performance at First Presbyterian Church, Saturday, April 1st, Sunday, April 2nd. Tickets, $35, $45. And we got kind of a thing going here. 17 and under, $7. It's a deal. And you buy online. I'm going to ask Joanne for a phone number here in a minute, if that's appropriate. But basically online, www.lobero.com, because you can buy your tickets through the Lobero box office for the First Presbyterian Church performances. I want to make sure that's good. Or www.sbchoral.org. Is there a phone number folks can call?
I don't have that off the top of my head.
Oh, we're getting off to a great start. I think really the preferred manner is through the Lobero Theater, and as I've just given, we'll go back a bit. But let's get down to the nitty gritty here. Let me pull this down about this extraordinary work of Brahms. You and I spoke a little bit earlier here. This is a work that took this man 10 years anyway to compose. It was a time in his life, 1856, 1866, 69, in there, the mid-50s to the mid-60s, in the 19th century, when Brahms had tremendous difficulties. His mom died in the 1860s. His beloved Robert Schumann, the composer, died in 1856, something like that. Just all of this stuff, and his Brahms affiliation with the Schumann family, I guess is the way I would put it. It's a period of great turmoil, and it is all expressed in the most beautiful and optimistic way, really, in the German Requiem. He himself said something about he really would prefer that this be a requiem for humanity. And in a way, the message is not a requiem for the dead, but for the living, for the survivors. How many times have you conducted this? We mentioned a little earlier.
Well, I've conducted it myself. This will be my third time conducting it. What a joy that is. And I also prepared it for the Santa Barbara Symphony, I believe it was 11 years ago. I think it was Near's first concert, actually. And we had
Near Cabaretti, the conductor of the Santa Barbara Symphony.
Yes, we had a wonderful performance at the Arlington Theater.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And how does it feel now as opposed to 3 performances ago? Have you, every performance is an insight, I know, but are you doing anything a little bit differently? Do you have any?
Well, I'd say that each time preparing and performing the German Requiem, it seems to be a life-changing time. It's just such phenomenal work. There's so much in it. I think that it's a bit different. Certainly, it needs to be different. I think I conducted this, 20 years ago or so. And my take on it then, and of just being so humbled to do it and thrilled to be performing this, just wanting to hold it together and to make it a respectable performance. Certainly, I want to do that now also, but I'm able to get a little deeper into the music personally, and also I believe my singers are also. So just in the way we've structured our rehearsals, I went to a symposium last year in Atlanta, and it was a Robert Shaw symposium, and I think Robert Shaw has one of the finest recordings of the German Requiem. And the symposium focused on his performance of the Requiem at Carnegie Hall. So all of his rehearsals and the performance itself and his insight into this piece. And I was so inspired by that I've actually used many of those techniques with the singers, with the Choral Society in preparation for this performance.
And it's I think something like 80 minutes long. It's a big, massive work, 7 distinct movements. It was composed over a long period of time, so it's kind of hard to keep that whole continuity, everything together. It's a big job for a conductor. How do you kind of keep the concentration and the forward movement of a piece that is this monumental, dealing with adult, but as with most choruses, amateur musicians who have other lives, other things they do between rehearsals. How do you what's the magic to keep that energy that's so important?
And the music itself. The music itself it just takes you on he takes you on this journey from beginning to end. It's a cyclical piece, the first movement and the last movement, and the second movement and the sixth movement are the longest movements of the piece. And in the very center he has How Lovely Is Thy Dwelling Place. It's just a magnificent structure. So it's a you know after finishing one movement, you cannot wait to get into the beauty of the next one.
And I've been thinking a lot about how profoundly Brahms was moved by Robert Schumann's death. In fact, all of Europe. I mean, there so many great composers died so young. Mendelssohn,
Yes.
Schumann, and also how seriously we've talked about this. The human beings uh, took this romantic concept, how seriously they understood deep, profound romanticism.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking that this is such a must have been good therapy for Brahms as well. For all flesh is as grass. I mean, his whole message is it's okay that the dead are in a good place and we will be with them at some future point. Tell me just briefly if you can. I'm thinking of that Herr, du bist würdig, that wonderful C major fugue toward the end. That's got to be a tough piece to coordinate with orchestra, with all the chorus and the fugue and all that.
I'll tell you, this is a very challenging piece. It's a very challenging piece for everybody.
Yeah.
But the singers, especially, what they must do in this piece vocally, it's extremely taxing. Um, uh, and the way that I've rehearsed the singers is that I mean they've been tedious rehearsals. We have rehearsed one of Shaw's techniques was count singing, and so we would go rehearsal after rehearsal after rehearsal and not even use the text and just sing on rhythm. Just sing 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 all the way through, because it's so important that the singer know that each note has its place in time. And once I think you have this unity within the group, then this piece reveals itself in such a profound way. And I have the singers singing also. All of our rehearsals have been in circles. We've been in 2 concentric circles. So the singers, they don't listen to just their part. They're listening to where they fit into the texture in the entire piece. So it's been a very exciting time. I can't wait to put it together with the orchestra and see how that works
Let
out.
me see if I understand this idea of singing in circles. In other words, they are no longer in distinct sections. They are
Yes.
hearing all of the other parts right next to themselves, so to say. Yeah.
Exactly.
So
Yes.
it reminds me of string players sometimes, an exercise that's about mixing first, second violins up, setting them all around each other, and all of a sudden they finally can hear each other. I presume that's the same thing.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
well,
And they can hear each other, and then they can see how their lines, how their parts fit in with the other part.
exactly.
It, uh, uh, there's nothing like
And this is, by the way, is a very dense piece harmonically. I mean, there's a lot of moving parts. There's a lot of voicing,
there is.
and all that stuff that's very, very important. How about the orchestra? We're talking about the Choral Society Orchestra. They must be thrilled to have this opportunity.
Yeah, I've heard they're very excited about
Yeah,
doing this.
well, that's right, because you'll have what first rehearsal in a day or two with the orchestra,
I
something
have
like that.
first rehearsal with the orchestra Thursday evening.
Thursday evening,
Yes.
that's the way of costs, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
The way of costs. Look, Joanne, I've watched probably, well, of course, I've watched the Choral Society since at least the 80s. But in the past couple, 3 years, I've watched the Choral Society really begin to take on some new energy, some new excitement. The recent Royal Tea fundraiser. I mean, what a brilliant idea, and also it was a great success. And the sound of the choir is getting better and better and better. You're bringing in new recruits. And the Lobero Theater, I used to have trouble with that room. I think it works beautifully now. They've done a lot with the acoustics there. What next year is the 70th anniversary. Can you give me a tiny little hint? Is there anything being talked about?
Well, we actually we're still working on programming for the next year.
Yeah.
And oh, did I
What
lose?
happened?
I've got a call coming in here.
Uh,
So
oh,
let's decline that. Let's see. There you are.
there you are. Sorry about that. Okay, go ahead. Everybody knows this is freelance,
Uh,
or should I say
so
free fall?
so we are, we are basically the structure of our season will be the same as it has been for the last few years. We will have a holiday concert. We're going to be performing with the symphony again. I believe that's going to be in February, and then we will also do a spring concert. So we're still working on the details of all that. So we're keeping it a bit of a surprise.
Oh, okay. All right, very much. Because as I'll tell everyone in Southern California, the annual Hallelujah event at the Lobero
Yes.
Theater where a celebrity comes in and reads "Twas the Night Before Christmas." What a stroke of genius! It's now one of the biggest events of the year in Santa Barbara, and so on. So onward and upward. Joanne, let me just pull back up here. I'm just going to run these by, I hope, a little more briefly than when I started. But here's for everybody to know. Here's what's coming up this coming weekend. We're talking Saturday, April 1st, Sunday, April 7th. Saturday night, 8 o'clock, Sunday afternoon, 3 o'clock, Santa Barbara Choral Society and Orchestra, Brahms, Ein Deutscher Requiem, the German Requiem, this massive, gorgeous, incredible, highly romantic, beautiful, beautiful masterpiece of Brahms, baritone Lester Lynch, soprano Tamara Bevard are the soloists. Tickets $35, $45. It's in the First Presbyterian Church, and that room is fabulous for these big choral and orchestral sounds. Students 17 and under, $7. It's a deal any way you look at it. And let me get down here for everybody in Southern California. You just go to your computer. Surely everyone has a computer. Come on, and you can buy your tickets right there online. www.lobero.com. The Lobero Theater is selling tickets for this performance at the First Presbyterian Church, or www.sbchoral.org. Thanks very much. I think we're done.
Okay.
All
Thank you,
right.
Dan. Look forward to seeing
Okay.
everybody this
Bye bye.
weekend.
Bye bye.
Uh-huh.
Let me